So good day to everyone and welcome to today's webinar on ASI accreditation services to GSTC. My name is Roy Ariel, GSTC General Manager, and I'll be moderating this session. Our speakers today are Elise Stavely, ASI Communications Coordinator, and also Evie Matabur, ASI GSTC Program Manager. Just before we get started with the presentation, please note that you have on the side, you have the option to ask questions. You're welcome to post any questions during the session, but we will have a Q&A after the presentations, which will also be the time where they will answer your questions. So without further ado, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Roy. So my name is Evie Matabur. As he said, I'm the program manager for the GSTC program at ASI. And first of all, I'd like to thank Roy and the GSTC for the opportunity to present ASI and to tell you about what we do. And secondly, I wanted to state that this is the first presentation or webinar in a series of 3 to 4 webinars that we plan to do with you. This one is about ASI in general, so very generic, who we are, what we do, and what we do for the GSTC. And the other webinars that we plan are specific on ISO 17065, which is the standard that is a requirement for GSTC certification bodies to fulfill. And those webinars will be on topics like impartiality and independence, or other quality management system items such as internal audits and management systems. And if there is then a demand for more specific ISO 17065 topics, then we will create more. But more on this to come. So I give now the floor to Elise to continue the presentation.
Hello, everyone. Just getting the sun out of my eyes. My name is Elise Stavely. I'm Communications Coordinator here at ASI. Thanks for joining us today. So we're going to go, Evie and I will get a little bit into who we are at ASI, what we do, and how you can be involved. So we'll start off with our promise. Good intentions are not enough. This is what we believe at ASI. We believe that good intentions need to be backed up by action, and they need to lead to impact. In our field of sustainability standards, we see a lot of what we call green hypocrisy. So claims that are being made without the credibility or assurance to really know what's behind them and to know that they are true and credible. And what we do about that is we help the doers. So we choose to work with organizations and initiatives that do, rather than just talking, that take the action that is needed and that do put in the work that's needed to make their claims credible and well assured. We'll get into kind of the technical details of what we do in just a minute. So for more than 10 years, you most likely knew us as Accreditation Services International. Last month in January 2019, we changed our name to Assurance Services International, so still ASI, but assurance rather than accreditation. Assurance to us encompasses much more than accreditation, and it was about time that our name caught up with our actual services that we offer. Some of the topics of assurance that we believe are included alongside or in addition to accreditation include our forensics and traceability work, the stakeholder consultations and engagement that we do around our accreditation activity, investigations, designing alternative assurance models, and more. Our work covers the whole world. So Evie and I are based here in our head office in Bonn, Germany. We have some colleagues in our regional office in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And then we have about 42 assessors in 24 countries around the world. So we truly are globally based, operating from all over the globe. I'll hand it over to Evie and we'll get into what we do.
So these are the 7 schemes that we currently work with. We have an exclusive an exclusivity agreement with these standard setting organizations. As you see, there's ASIs, which is the Aquaculture Stewardship Council, the Marine Stewardship Council, the Forest Stewardship Council, and the Roundtable for Sustainable Palm Oil, RSB, which is the Roundtable on Sustainable Biomaterials, and SBP, the Sustainable Biomass Partnership, and of course the GSTC, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. We started working with the FSC about 11 years ago. They were the first scheme that we worked with, and then we added MSC, and throughout the years we added more schemes to our portfolio, so to say. And all of these schemes are leading sustainability schemes. Just a short explanation on what accreditation actually means. This is a formal a translation or definition of accreditation. It's a third-party attestation related to a conformity assessment body conveying formal demonstration of its competence to carry out specific conformity assessment tasks. That's a mouthful, lots of complicated words. We call the certification body a CAB, which is short for a conformity assessment body. And we verify the requirements set out in various methodologies through assessments that we do on the certification bodies. And this definition is a definition from ISO 17011, which is another standard that we fulfill as an accreditation body. This 17011 standard is part of the 17,000 series, which is conformity assessments, and is specifically for accreditation bodies. And we do annual internal audits to ensure that we fulfill the criteria set out in 17011, and we also get external reviews to ensure that we comply with the 17011 standard. This is an overview of how it works, basically, all the different actors that are involved in third-party accreditation and certification. So we have the certification scheme owner at the top. In this case, that's GSTC. They have appointed ASI to be the independent accreditation body and assurance provider for the GSTC. And then there's ASI, there's us. We oversee international assessment and ongoing monitoring of the certification bodies, the conformity assessment bodies. And they, in their turn, verify conformity to scheme-specific requirements at the level of the certificate holders. We currently have 85 accredited certification bodies across the 7 schemes that I showed to you a couple slides ago. And we have 600 assessments conducted every year, and 56 65 countries that we visit every year in which we do assessments. And we have a number of, I believe, 20% of the accredited CABs are accredited for multiple accreditations. That means that they are not only accredited for FSC, for instance, but may also be accredited for GSTC. We also have one certification body that I believe is accredited for all the schemes that we have as part of our portfolio. Yeah. About GSTC, it's currently the smallest program that we manage. We have 2 accredited certification bodies. And last year we did 10 assessments across the world and in 6 different countries. We've been partnering with the GSTC since April 2016. So we've been partnering for about almost 3 years, in fact. We have to be very clear that we currently only accredit against the hotel and tour operator scope and not the destination scope. So as you, the audience, know that GSTC has got 2 standards, one for hotels and tour operators, which is called the industry standard, and then there is a destination standard. We have agreed with the GSTC that we currently don't adopt the destination standard, but it's very likely that in the future we may adopt this scope as well. So for the time being, GSTC continues to accredit the destination scope, and we take full control over the hotels and tour operators accreditation. Currently, we have 2 accredited certification bodies, as stated in the previous slide, and those are Control Union and BDO. And we have 6 applicants that are in various stages of the application process. So we hope that in a very near future, the program will grow. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is it's quite important. There are currently still a few certification bodies that are accredited by the GSTC, but they are in a process of becoming accredited by ASI. And the cutoff date for that is June 30th this year. So if these certification bodies that are currently accredited by the GSTC haven't achieved accreditation by June 30th, 2019, then their accreditation will expire. But we hope that we will be able to provide the assessment services within this period, and that the accreditation can then be passed over from the GSTC to ASI. These are the accreditation criteria set by the GSTC. So there is an accreditation manual, version 2.4, which you can download from the GSTC website. This is applicable since January 2018, and the GSTC has confirmed with me that the review of this manual has started, and it is planned to be issued, a new version is planned to be issued by September 2019. This is quite important for certification bodies, as any change that is made in an accreditation manual has quite a big impact on their systems, because they have to change their systems to match it with a new version. Also, the ISO standard 17065 is embedded in the accreditation manual, meaning that there is a criteria stating that all the certification bodies have to fulfill the criteria that are set out in 17065. This is standard for certification bodies that deal with products and services certification, and covers items like impartiality and independence, training, management systems, internal audits, management reviews, and things like that. So, like I said, we are planning to provide some webinars specifically on the ISO 17065 criteria to support the certification bodies. This is your GSTC team at the ASI. Phil and Lloyd have been lead assessors for quite some time, and they have a very broad experience within the GSTC, but also in other schemes of sustainability standards. And Daniel will be your main first point of contact if you are a certification body and you are planning to apply, or you are in the process of applying. And if you have specific questions about the accreditation process, then you will have to contact me. I'm currently not an assessor for the GSTC program, but I do assessments for other programs. And Phil and Lloyd are the main assessors, but we have a third person that is a trainee. He's called Eduardo Bloom, and we hope that he will be a lead assessor by the end of this year for the GSTC program. This is an overview of the accreditation cycle. So once certification body is accredited, the accreditation cycle will be 5 years long. So there will be a 5-year certificate, and within this 5-year period, the certification body is subject to surveillance assessments by ASI, and before the 5-year period ends, we have to make sure that we conduct assessments for the re-accreditation process. So before the certificate expires, we would like to, of course, reissue a certification of accreditation, a certificate of accreditation, sorry. Yeah. These are the different types of assessments. When this concerns a certification body that is an applicant, we always conduct a desk review first to ensure that the procedures are put in place by the certification body. And every assessment comes with an assessment report and assessment findings. So first there's a desk review. Once there are no major outstanding non-conformities from the desk review, we will pass on to the office assessment, meaning that one of our assessors will go to your office, to the certification body's office, and verify conformity with the various GSTC accreditation criteria, as well as the ASI accreditation criteria. And then when there are no outstanding major non-conformities, we will move on to the witness assessment, which means that one of our assessors will witness a certification body's audit on site. We have no active role in this process. We only monitor and witness the process, but at the end, there will be a closing meeting between ASI and the certification body, and there will also be a report and non-conformities if that's the case. Compliance assessments is something that we haven't done for the GSTC, but we do for other programs. It's likely that we may do this in the future if GSTC finds it's important. Compliance assessments mean that we actually conduct a certification audit and compare the results of this audit with the results of the certification body audit of the same certificate holder. Yep. How the system works. ASI actually has quite a unique position because we have an exclusivity agreement with the schemes, meaning that we are the only assurance provider for the schemes that we work with. And that means that we can get the data from all the different actors in the supply chain and also in the system. So we have data collected from the conformity assessment bodies, the certification bodies, and their auditors. And we also, through this process, collect data from certificate holders and pass this data on to scheme owners and to scheme users. And the scheme owners, for instance, have access to our database, meaning that they can see all the clients that we manage, and the clients in this case are our conformity assessment bodies, but they can also access data such as assessment reports, findings, complaints that we have received or complaints that have gone through the system, and incidents. Elise will explain a little bit more about the incidents process in the next coming slides, but I just wanted to state that that is a very strong part of our system, which we unfortunately haven't applied to the GSTC program because it's still fairly small. But this incidents system is a way for anybody in the world, private persons, NGOs, whatsoever, can report directly some misuse of eco-labeling or misuse of standard requirements into our system, and we have a system behind that to react to that depending on the risk that is related to that incident. Most of our schemes that we work with are ISEAL members, and the ISEAL Alliance is an international organization that supports standard setting organizations that have a very strong emphasis on environmental and social criteria. And we are a member of ISEAL as well. I know that the GSTC is one of our schemes that is in process of becoming an ISEAL member. And ISEAL puts a lot of emphasis on transparency, which is one of their principles, and we do too. So for us, it's very important that we share assessment results beyond the schemes. But for the GSTC, for now, we don't have this agreement that we actually share the assessment results beyond the scheme. Yeah, I think I'll leave it to this for now and pass on to Elise again.
Thanks, Avi. So we want to wrap it up with how you can be involved and how we involve different players, be it conformity assessment bodies, stakeholders, NGOs, scheme owners, in our processes. So first, we have disputes processes. We'll start with appeals. Appeals are strictly for accredited conformity assessment bodies to dispute an ASI decision. We have complaints, which can be submitted by anyone who's unsatisfied with a dispute that they started at the certificate holder or conformity assessment body level. Complaints then follow a formal process up to ASI, and we do publish public summaries of complaints. And then we have incidents, which is what Avi just mentioned, and what we really want to stress is an important part of our system. So incidents can be reported by anyone in the world. They can also be reported anonymously through our website. When that's done, if you report an incident on our website, it comes right into our database. You can give as much or as little information as you have. And this would basically be any tip or suspicious activity that you see happening at any level in any of our schemes that could threaten the reputation or the performance of the schemes that we work with, including at the ASI level. So this information comes to us, it's analyzed to make sure to assess the credibility, and it's prioritized and followed up. Sometimes that follow-up is just we're visiting that certificate holder anyway in a witness assessment or a compliance assessment, and so we'll follow up the incident there. Sometimes we do it triggers a completely new investigation, and we end up with boots on the ground within a week or two of the incident being reported to us, depending on the severity and the prioritization. So this is really one of the tools that we use to gather information. We receive hundreds of incidents per year, and we do want to use this throughout all of our programs. So definitely we encourage anyone to log incidents right onto our website. Scheme owners can log incidents directly into our database as well. Another way that you can be involved is reading our assessment reports and giving input to our assessments before they happen. So before our assessments happen, we announce them on our website, and anyone can give input for that assessment. We gather stakeholder input for all of our assessments, and then we follow up on it, and the follow-up as well as the input is published in our reports. Of course, this is anonymized in the reports. We publish reports for different programs depending on the technical scope and the agreement with the scheme owner. Right now, we do not publish reports for GSTC, as Avi mentioned, but we do always aim towards more transparency, so this is something that we hope to do at some point. Of course, public reports are fully anonymized. There are no names used, so they are confidential, but it really adds a level of transparency and accountability to our system. We would love if you subscribe to our newsletter. We conduct an annual planning survey once a year, usually in August to September. And there we send a survey to our stakeholders and we ask for any input that we could use for the coming year's assessment plan. So that's always sent out via our newsletter. You can also follow us on social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. If you are representing a conformity assessment body and you're interested in applying for accreditation, we encourage you to do so. You can find out all the processes and documents that you'll need right on our website. And finally, Avi mentioned that we'll have a few upcoming webinars about ISO 17065. So please do keep your eyes and ears out for announcements about that. And we'll definitely keep you updated and look forward to seeing you there. So thank you very much. I think we'll hand it back over to Roy to get to any open questions and some discussion, any comments that you may have.
Great, thank you very much. And I think because today we have not that big of a crowd from the participant side, so if you want to ask a question, you can either write it down, but you can just unmute yourself and speak out. If Beatrice, Isabel, Nicola, Randy, or someone else have any comment or question.
Hi, thank you very much for your presentation. It was very interesting. if, for example, a hotel would like to go through, for example, your certification process, does the hotel has to first get in touch with a certification body? Please.
Yes, yeah, thank you for the question. So the usual process is that you go to the GSTC website and see what certification bodies are accredited, and then you try to find the right certification body for your hotel. So we usually always suggest to contact more than one certification body and try to find out if they can provide the service that you are looking for, and then you decide which one you want to work with. Probably you should check if this certification body is located closely to where your hotel is, or if they have auditors available in the area where your hotel is, so that you can keep travel costs low.
Okay, yes. I see. Okay. And it will be the same for a tour operator, right?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Beatrice, you will see that I posted in the chat the link.
Okay. Yes. I'm familiar with the link, but thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay. Well,
sorry, maybe you mentioned that, but I just wrote down a few notes. Who is this conformity assess body, and what is their role?
So a conformity assessment body is the same as a certification body. Conformity assessment body is a language or terminology used in ISO, and we use ISO language in our daily work, which is why we call it a conformity assessment body, but it's just a normal certification body. Yes.
Okay.
So from the GSTC side, when we speak with the general public, we usually use the term certification body because it's a little bit easier to understand what it is, less technical from the term CAB, the conformity, etc. So on our website, for example, we use this terminology, but for those certification bodies and standard owners that are going into the process of becoming accredited, then then in that case we use this term CAB and not just CB.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to the next webinars.
Okay, great. Thank you, Evie. Thank you, Elise.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Good.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Well
Okay.
done. Thank you.
Bye.